Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins. Check out the Basketball Time Machine with Sean David.
Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to the show. I'm Sean David. Let's talk some old school basketball. Now, with the Last Dance documentary, we all get the chance again to see how great and what a competitor Michael Jordan was. So I also wanted to cover a Michael Jordan story, a one that hasn't been told that many times, at least I think so. So in this story, I'm going to cover the story of B.J. Armstrong and Michael Jordan. But before we start with this video, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thanks a lot, you guys, for supporting the show. It's really appreciated. And I would say, let's get started.
I think BJ kind of forgot, about us, what drives us. We utilized that energy that he used at the end of game 2 to our advantage, and we're good at that. So, he woke us up.
So I'm pretty sure most of you old school fans know the career of B.J. Armstrong, but still let me take you back to its beginning. From 1985 to 1989, Benjamin Roy, or B.J. Armstrong, played for the University of Iowa before he was drafted by the Chicago Bulls with the 18th pick in the 1989 NBA draft. At that time, the Bulls were the masters of identifying talent. Players like Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, or B.J. Armstrong were all players that not so many NBA teams had on their radar. Armstrong was supposed to have the backup role to John Paxson and should learn year by year to someday be the starting point guard. The 6'2" Armstrong was a very smart player with a very high basketball IQ, a solid defense, and a smooth shot. He was no John Stockton passing-wise, but the Bulls always had players that could pass really well, so it wasn't a big problem that Armstrong was not a great passer. BJ was a true Ironman. In his first 6 seasons, he would only miss 1 regular season game. From 1991 to 1993, Armstrong would win 3 championships with the Bulls and slowly but surely turned into the starting point guard. Paxson was getting older, and Armstrong's game improved drastically over the years. After the 1993 NBA season, so when Michael Jordan retired, B.J. Armstrong's role changed drastically and he had to take way more responsibility. While Pippen was the clear leader, B.J. needed to raise his game in order for the Bulls to be successful. And he did a very good job. At that time, he was one of the most popular players in the NBA. He was even selected to be an All-Star that year.
Shaq has added to his resume by being elected to start at center for the East in the upcoming All-Star game in Minneapolis. The 7'1" second-year sensation has successfully avoided the sophomore jinx and was his conference's leading vote-getter when the polls closed. O'Neal will be joined by a pair of Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have a 2-on-1 Scottie Pippen's making his 4th appearance, while B.J. Armstrong makes his 1st.
Anything that you achieve individually is a result of what we achieve collectively, and that's my attitude.
Even though Michael Jordan had retired, the Bulls had a fantastic season, while B.J. Armstrong was averaging a career high of 14.8 points per game and 3.9 assists. The next season, Jordan had his first comeback and helped the struggling Bulls to make a late run for the playoffs. But as we all know, they were kicked out of the playoffs by the Orlando Magic. Then there would be a drastic change in the career of B.J. Armstrong. After the 1995 NBA season, so at the beginning of the new dynasty, B.J. Armstrong was no longer a Chicago Bull.
The deal was done before the draft, but the lockout put a lock on the details until now. Basically, B.J. Armstrong for 5 players: Carlos Rogers, Victor Alexander, Dwayne Whitfield, Martin Lewis, and Michael McDonald. All interchangeable types.
It's a big key. You got to have versatile parts. You got to have versatile people and interchangeable people who can play 2 and 3 positions.
Armstrong, meantime, would only have played guard and wanted to play for a contender anyway.
He did not want to be here because he wanted to play for a contender, because he said by the time we start to win in 4 years, he'll be retiring.
At the end, B.J. Armstrong ended on a Golden State Warriors team that was very far away from winning NBA championships. After 2 seasons with the Warriors, Armstrong was traded to the Charlotte Hornets in exchange for point guard Muggsy Bogues. Finally, BJ landed on a team with a lot of talent. Led by NBA All-Star Glenn Rice, the Hornets were up and coming. During that period, however, the Bulls were the most dominant team by far. After winning 2 NBA championships, the Bulls went through a rough start in '98, but would get their act together when Pippen returned after his injury. In the first round of the 1998 NBA playoffs, the Chicago Bulls would face the New Jersey Nets. And what can you say? Well, they got swept away. So now it was official. The Bulls would face the Charlotte Hornets, and BJ Armstrong would get the chance to play against his former team. The Hornets won 51 games that year, and even though BJ was coming off the bench, he would average double figures that season. In Game 1, everything looked like the Bulls would do what the Bulls do, leaving the Hornets without a chance. But in Game 2, everything would change. Charlotte started to play super aggressive and put the Chicago Bulls in a lot of trouble. The Bulls had a very tough time to score, and MJ also didn't have it that night. And while the game was close in the last minutes, BJ Armstrong took over.
And BJ Armstrong pushing it up, guarded by Kerr. Well, Curry is on fire right now, and everything is kept down. And now BJ Armstrong, the former Chicago Bull, hits a basket to give the Hornets a 3-point lead, and that is their biggest lead of the game. Charlotte on an 11-2 run here in the fourth quarter, sending this crowd into silence. Michael Jordan over Mason, and the rebound by Divac, and here's Armstrong trying to push it up again. Comes into a pick by Longley. And Armstrong hits, and now the Hornets can't miss as Phil Jackson wants a timeout. Glenn Rice off, and Divac gets the offensive rebound and a new clock for the Hornets with under a half a minute to go now. I remember it's Chicago fouls. They're in the penalty. Big offensive rebound for Vlade Divac. The lead is 3. Armstrong will put up the jumper, and BJ Armstrong 76-71. The lead is 5.
BJ Armstrong would win the game for the Hornets. But what made it even worse, after every single basket, Armstrong would stare down the Bulls bench. This would be the moment what would change the dynamic of the series. While the Bulls looked weak and fragile in Game 2, Armstrong would quickly remember that Jordan takes those things personal.
In the regular season here. This is it right there. Jordan goes right around Wesley as if he were not even on the court.
Well, that no size factor. There's no strength factor. Michael is not going to
learn a 2-point edge for Chicago. Michael Jordan trying to use a screen from Luke Long, and he does. And
teams in the league. You get that and get it out. You can score on that.
Michael Jordan is with 10 points. Michael is not only once before that last sequence. Michael Jordan with a high shot. Jordan with 12. You don't think they're going to get him. It's Michael Jordan. High arcing shot off the glass as Jordan plays David Wesley at point guard for the Hornets. Here's Michael Jordan with the jumper. He's going to pivot in the open floor, guarded by Glenn Rice. Here's Jordan with a turnaround machine. He was in Game 2.
You need the looks and you need to get in a groove. And speaking of a groove, this guy is in one.
Jordan trying to do it and does. 70-55, a 15-point lead. Timeout called by the Hornets. Michael Jordan.
This is very few times tonight Michael has gone baseline. How about the reverse move and then the fadeaway against the 7-footer? Divac looking for a shot block.
The Bulls would win the next 3 games in a row, and Jordan had averaged over 30 points per game for the remaining series. BJ Armstrong, on the other hand, was guarded by MJ the next game, and let's say he had a very rough night, only shooting 14% from the field. When the series was over, Michael Jordan, he had something to say.
BJ kind of forgot, about us, what drives us. We utilized that energy that he used at the end of Game 2 to our advantage, and we're good at that. So, he woke us up.
Okay, guys, that's it for today's episode. Please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, and also click on the notifications button so you always get notified once I upload a new video. And other than that, enjoy your day, take care, and goodbye.
B.J. Armstrong comes in the game. Michael Jordan says, hey, Phil, I've got him. Watch this sequence by Michael Jordan. He has B.J. Armstrong in the post. He's going to back him down. Vlade comes over to give help. Too late with the score. When he goes on defense, take a look at this. Michael Jordan, the tongue is out, but look at this. Look at these eyes. Michael Jordan says, you want some of this, BJ? Come get it.